All right, thank you. Thank you. You're not. Thank you. I can't hear you. I didn't test one early. Yeah, it's the same. It's literally the same. The only thing I messed with it was it was like it was a 10-second count before it started at 3 minutes. I took it off. I hope it stayed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I right. And so then when I got to work, I said, I'm gonna let you. What's that? And I could use a car wash. Look, the news says Arizona, they're looking for freezing rain and snow again Saturday. I take my daughter. I did. She ended up spending the night. She went like for a friend's birthday party. I never stayed like spend the night. We went for the day. It was pretty fun. I had more fun as a kid than an adult, obviously. See, my church used to do little kids out, but it's the kids outings and stuff. So I used to go to my church. We even went to Rainbow Lodge, kids that went in Busch Gardens every year, every summer. And so I went as a kid, but it was a little different as an adult. So probably glad to pay for it. Maybe I was not as much. Good. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Good evening. I will now call the January 14, 2025 meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the bylaws of the Cumberland County, Virginia Board of Supervisors to ensure a fair, orderly, and safe meeting. Excerpts from your bylaws pertaining to public conduct during the meeting have been posted outside for your review. Mrs. Branch, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Hamlet?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Mr. Saunders?
Here.
If everyone could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Mr. Hamlin. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray.
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day where we can gather together, Lord, and I just pray for your blessing to be upon us. I pray for your protection and for your wisdom. I pray that you be with each and every one in this place tonight, and I pray that you will keep and watch over everyone as they leave this place once we're done with our business. As we seek to do the business of those residents of Cumberland County, I just pray for your divine wisdom and be with us in our thoughts and our actions. So in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now open the floor for nominations of chairman. Are there any nominations for the chairman of the board?
I nominate Rita Tyree.
Second.
We need a motion to approve that nomination. We've got it, we've got a second. Now let's vote. Roll call. Oh, you got it. Okay, I got you. So motion to approve the nomination, sorry.
So moved.
Mr. Hamlet?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Saunders?
Yeah.
Now that Ms. Tyree is not here, I will actually open the floor.
Mr. Clerk, just to make sure, the last vote was to close nomination, is that correct?
It was to approve
To approve the nomination.
So that was to approve Ms. Tyree. So the vote was to approve her as chair.
Correct. That's correct.
Normally we have by the bylaws, we have a motion to close nominations, and then the vote on the nomination, but all nominations.
Okay. We need to read.
Yeah, I think to stay with the bylaws, we
Okay.
start with that.
So we voted on the nomination now, well,
Now we're point of order. Does that mean that the floor is still open for nominations?
It would, because there needs to be a motion to close nominations, yes. Before, and then once it's closed, then you vote. Sorry.
Honestly, I think that, is this discussion time? I think that Mr. Newman has done a great job of being chair of the first year of this board. And it was my hope that we could, I know we decided as a board that we wanted to alternate the chair, but I think it's important for continuity purposes that this board function smoothly. Case in point, I feel that John doesn't miss meetings, and we're going to nominate someone as chair that, due to circumstances outside of this board and their busy schedule, that sometimes they're not available for these meetings. I know personally I've got a lot going on outside that I wouldn't even put myself in the running, so I want to nominate John Newman as chair.
I think, as comment to everyone, we agree to rotate. And I'll do what's necessary for the county. However, I think Eureka has stepped up to the plate as vice chairman. And rotation does give people seat time, so to speak. And there's a lot to learn. At the same time, that gives us more depth in the position. So I would prefer at this point for somebody to have an opportunity to do that. And that's why I stated in the last meeting that I was willing to step aside. So case in point, again, I'm willing to support the county do respect the motion, and I support it. Any other comments? Comments?
Kemper, I'm gonna lean on you.
No, so there needs to be a motion to close nominations. That needs to be seconded.
Gotcha.
I'll make the motion to close the nomination.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
And Mr. Clerk, if there are two nominations, it's in reverse order of those discussed, so there would have to be a vote on, in this case, Mr. Newman first, and then Ms. Supervisors.
Okay. So the first vote,
Would be, for the nomination, as a result of the nomination.
okay, first vote would be the result of the nomination of Mr. Newman for chair.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Abstain.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
No.
Mr. Saunders?
The next item for vote would be a vote on the motion for Ms. Tyree as chair.
Mr. Hamlin?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Yes.
Mr. Saunders?
I can,
Yes.
we're good. Now I can turn it over to the, well, I can't turn it over to the chair because she's not here, so I'm going to maintain this. I'll now like to open the floor for nominations of vice chair.
I nominate Mr. Newman.
Mr. Hamlin? Oh, Supervisor.
Any other nominations? Okay, I'll now close the floor.
So there needs to be a motion to close.
To close the floor. We need a motion to close the floor.
Motion to close.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Saunders? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Now, do we have a motion to appoint Mr. Newman as vice chairman of the board of supervisors?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Abstain.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Now I can turn it over to our, Mr. Newman as vice chairman of the board of supervisors. I'm going to gladly turn the meeting over to you.
Concerning tonight's agenda, County Administrator comments first.
Yes. So back to me.
Dispatch.
Yes, I'm going to provide the board a couple of updates as it relates to county administrator comments. And I'm going to steal a little bit of Mr. Hurley's thunder with the start, but he's going to provide a little bit more detail. But I did want to let the board know, and I'll let you know in other communications, that emergency medical dispatch is live and has been since January 7th with the county. It is mandated by the state government that we implement an emergency medical dispatch program. You may recall that we did pursue and receive grant funds in the amount of $67,000 to implement this program in partnership with our sheriff's office, the dispatch office, and fire and EMS. And it's a great program. I believe we've already seen 2 to 4 incidents a day for the first week that it's been in operation. It is a change. It's a good change, and I want to applaud the sheriff's office and Mr. Early for their efforts in bringing this project across the finish line. And it's just a great addition to our ability to serve the residents of the county through public safety. Next item, this is hot off the press. I wanted to let the board know that the governor's office just released a press release a couple of hours ago related to an economic development strategic grant. It was actually a combination grant through the Virginia Tobacco Commission. You probably heard me talk about this in the previous month, but we were successful in the second half of that grant through the AFID VDAX program for economic development strategic planning. So we did receive both of those grants totaling $40,000. The governor's office issued a press release. The county piggybacked on that and issued one of those ourselves. So we will begin the strategic economic development process in earnest as we move on through the new year. In addition to that, some additional grant news. We did receive an RSAP grant. We were made aware of this late last week, approximately $61,000 to outfit our rescue squads. So that was applied for back in September, and just another example of our grants team doing doing a great job on behalf of our residents and going after grants and receiving those. So a big thank you to everyone that had a hand in that. And I'm going to end with thanking county staff who came out and braved the elements of the past weekend. I know VDOT was out, schools had folks out, ensuring that everybody was safety on the roads and in our facilities. So with that, those are my comments. I'd like to take any questions.
Any questions? Our next item is the agenda, really two items. There was a closed session scheduled earlier. That closed session was regarding performance of county personnel. That meeting was not held and will be rescheduled at a future date. That was at the request of the supervisor. Second item is under public hearings. That is a motion. Is that correct, Mr. Stewart?
That's correct. Under rezoning 24-01, Downey.
I want to make sure everyone knows that that has been presented to, National Tree Planning, mentioned in the last board supervisor meeting. This is a motion for Downey et al. Rezoning 24-01. With that, those are the only changes to the agenda. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Now we have a public comment period. This is for agenda items only. Is anyone signed up? No. On to organizational and administrative matters. Review and approve bylaws, which is in our tax 119.
Mr. Vice Chairman, can I just speak briefly regarding that? In your package, you'll find a copy of the bylaws as we stand now. I just wanted to clarify, this is our error, not providing a clean copy for this packet. The red line and the highlights do not reflect any changes that happened. These are changes that have happened previously. These are not new changes.
So the items in your board packets highlighted. Discussion. No discussion. Susan?
No, I think, we discussed, was it back in August, when the changes that we voted on in January, when we finally codified them to the bylaws. So I think that we have done our due diligence to make sure that these are reflective of how the board wants to move forward. So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the bylaws as written.
Well, I'll second that motion.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
That's just the code of ethics and standards of conduct. Mr. Beasley?
Mr. Vice Chairman, there's no changes to that.
No changes, correct. Any items for discussion? Code of conduct, okay. And again, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
This item is the committee appointments approval. Once again, Mr. Stanley, any comment on that?
No, sir. I believe that during our discussions with the board, everyone agreed to stay on the committees that they've been previously assigned to for continuity purposes and areas of passion and expertise. So,
Actually, I have a comment, and that is the Water and Sewer Advisory Board, which was indicated it meets as needed, will soon be meeting. And I ask anyone in attendance of this meeting, anyone in the county in the future that has an interest in joining that committee, please fill out an application that would be an item that would be given additional focus in the very near future. With that, do we have a motion to approve the appointments, committee appointments?
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Sonic?
Finally, the 2025 proposed meeting schedule as presented. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Yes. Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Sonic?
And finally, do we have a motion to approve the remote attendance policy as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Sonic?
All that out of the way. State local department agencies, community service provider reports, starting with Cumberland County Public Schools. Be quiet, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Stamey, members of the board. Just to give you an update from December to now. We've officially begun the second semester finally, hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, will be a full day of school. And we're excited to get a full day of school and get some momentum going. A big thank you to VDOT for their outstanding efforts in preparing the roads over the last few days. I truly appreciate their dedication. I've been checking roads for a long time since I've been in Cumberland. This is probably some of the best that I've seen, so thank you for that. Here's just some other things that are going on in the school division. Updated cell phone procedures they began Friday when we came back to school. We've implemented the up and away during the day, and it is going. So I'll keep you updated on that. Cumberland County Elementary School had a winter concert that was held prior to break, and it was a wonderful celebration of student talent. The Cumberland Elementary School hosted a winter wonderland prior to break. Students had a blast, and it was great to see so many family volunteers. So it's always good when families come out and volunteer to help with that. The Cumberland Middle School had National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony prior to winter break. It was great to see the kids get inducted and their families come out. The Cumberland Middle School High School Winter Band Concert was actually held at your last meeting, the same night as your last meeting in December. That's where I was, and it was a packed house. It was standing room only, so we did a great job. And the Cumberland High School hosted a basketball Christmas tournament right when we got out for the holiday break. It was well attended. We had 8 school divisions that participated, and the Saturday night championship game was a thriller. Cumberland and Prince Edward were in the championship game, and it went in overtime, and Cumberland, we lost by 2. It was a lot. It was pretty intense, so that's always good to see. If you've never seen a rivalry come to an equal and a 2, go ahead and on the basketball court. We just implemented a parent-teacher chat app, and that is to enhance communication between families and students. This week is Principal Appreciation Week. We're just celebrating our amazing principals at our elementary, middle, and high school. This week we celebrated Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We honored Officer Minter and Officer Baker as SROs for our school division. The draft 25-26 school calendar is posted. 7 students made all district band and 1 qualified for all state. We had some students that they'll go this weekend to participate in the state indoor track meet in Lynchburg. We had a Cumberland High School student that got inducted into the Virginia Governor's World Language Academy, and our high school students prior to winter break that met all of the attendance requirements got to go to a movie at Sunchase Cinema. It was only Cumberland students in there, so that's always a good thing. And of course, thank you for your continued support of the division, and best wishes for a great second semester. And I've been put in my request for no winter weather. So, thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Your band director still in need of band instruments?
Sure. Absolutely.
I encourage everyone to scour your attics, storage area, in search of old band instruments. I did that when I first moved up here. I held on to my better trumpet but I'm pretty close to being able to give it up.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, I was trying to clear. And I completely support Dan, and I do think my wife's clearing that something there. That may need some work. But, anyway, so please look in wherever you may have an old instrument stored and, use it to the high school.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we're honored to have Mr. Rick Ewing with Cumberland County Public Library. Ranch.
Wrong with it. It's a couple of them. Hit the button.
Right there. There you go. Check. Yes.
Hoping that when you get your comment together before you donate, you can bring it in. Give us a little news, sir.
It'd be pretty rusty. I'm sure it's still good.
Well, thanks for inviting me to speak. Just saying that members of the board. I have a brief update for the library. I guess I should introduce myself with you and the director of the library, Kimberly Western office, this branch office. We continue to have multiple programs for adults, including a full health fitness class starting in February, Monday, February 3rd, 6 to 7 at the library. This is with Mr. Sam Hanky, the Cumberland County Parks and Rec manager. We're working with them on that. And they'll come up again in a second. We also have weekly programs for children, story time and craft time. And we continue, as they're opening back up again, we will continue to have work in the school, visiting the school, and doing programming and story time and so on with classes. We also have a winter reading challenge for the kids. Keep them going. We have, in terms of the library itself, we've installed a new wall separating the children's area from the adult area. That's the end of the construction within the library. We painted almost the entire interior of the library as well. We still have work to do, but we're working on it. We've got a lot of positive comments. It's funny, we built a wall and then people come in and say, there's so much more room here. And I'm thinking, that's not what I expected to hear. Thank you very much. And so the kids can run around now and not sort of be in and out of the children as a result. And we're waiting on the new furniture for the adult area. That should be here very soon. It's been shipped. And for the teen area, the children's area, that's just going to take a little longer. Actually, I have to build the shelves. Apparently, there are no metal shelves in inventory in this country. They built them as you order them. Bent steel and paint them. So, we ordered some stuff, not to have it shipped. We've donated a large table to the high school theater as a prop. And we've given some indoor children's play furniture to the rec department for their use. Trying to keep everything in Cumberland County and to be used for the public. That's things we want. And no tax dollars have been used for anything in terms of construction or new furniture or anything like that. We're using foundation money and some savings. Please, I'm sure you are too. That's my report, but I can be glad to answer any questions.
As a shameless plug, I was in there today. So it's great. Checked out a book. Right, so that's what it's for. And it does look good. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Darren, you want fire EMS? We have statistics on it.
Finally here this time, they will talk. Good evening, y'all, happy new year. Thank you for letting me be here again to speak to you. I want to congratulate the two board members in your new roles. Look forward to working with you. I want to thank all the board members, Mr. Steen, for all your support of Fire EMS. Appreciate it. I gathered a couple statistics for you real quick to put up on the screen here, demonstrating the statistical update run calls for fire and EMS across the county. So I compared it last year, 2023 to 2024's report. There was basically a 5% increase in call volume with fire and EMS and all the responses in the county. Could be to an uptick in population, home building, things like that. And I broke them down for you here. We have 1,875 total, and then you look at Station 1, Cumberland EMS, that's the rescue squad, where they ran 1,376 calls for the county year 2024. Station 2's Cumberland Volunteer Fire, 267. Station 3, Cartersville Fire, 87. And Station 4's Randolph Volunteer Fire for 145. The total is at the top. So that's about a 5% increase in call volume for fire EMS in 2024. Next slide. What I wanted to do real quick was model what was presented in the last 2024 year in review. I know it looks very, very busy, but I wanted to make sure the board was aware of all of the community events and grants that were awarded. So I'm just going to brief you those real quick. The first one is the Radiological Emergency Preparedness Grant. We were awarded $700, and we used that money to outfit some items at the EOC, which is the Cumberland Rescue Squad, that building. So that if we have to open up an emergency operations center, then we'll have those tools there to help us guide us through the emergency event. The next one is the Rescue Squad Assistance Fund, $4,500, and that actually purchased a CPR assist device. It's a mechanical device that does chest compressions on the patient, so it relieves the rescuer to do other critical techniques to the patient. We were awarded a Central grant that was $30,000. All the items have been finally received. That was for another CPR assist device that I just explained. And then we've got some other items that help treat a patient that's in a critical event, like cardiac arrest. Mr. Stabey spoke of the emergency medical dispatch program. I've been working since the start of this position in October with the sheriff's office, and we finally got that live. What it does for the community is if you call 911 for a medical event, then it streamlines and a better process for the dispatcher to screen what the problem is so they can dispatch the resource quicker. And then the resource is responding and the dispatcher is trained to stay on the phone line with the caller to instruct them on life-saving measures. That is a huge benefit for the county citizens, and I'm proud of that. I'll be following up on that. Probably doing some quality assurance with them to make sure it's still working the way it's supposed to. They've been through a rigorous process of 9 dispatchers. They're all fully certified nationwide. It's like a license. You have to participate. You have 30 hours of training, 60 scenarios, and you have to renew it, recertify every 2 years. It's like a driving license or a hunting license. So they'll be required to take continuing education classes to keep that certification up so they can still function as an EMT dispatcher. We're also working on computer-aided dispatch criteria. Right now it's very old. So the way this is designed is your emergency medical dispatch software talks to the 911 computer-aided dispatch software, and they talk to each other. And if somebody's having a cardiac event, then it will, computer-aided dispatch will tell the dispatcher what to send. So for instance, if it's a cardiac arrest, it's probably gonna be an ambulance at the closest fire truck. It's gonna go, and law enforcement as well. Right now, it's not like that, so we're working on that, updating that. I have a grant in progress right now. I will hear by the end of this month, January, through the Department of Fire Programs. It's a mini grant, it's for $30,000. It is going to, if we get awarded, which I hope, allow us to purchase personal protective equipment, structural firefighting helmets for all of the firefighters at all 3 stations. I hope we get that. I feel very optimistic about it. Stay tuned for that. I'll probably be able to report that out next week. That also meets the department standardization requirements. The fire department has a committee that recommends standardization across the board for all volunteer firefighters. They wear certain gear, they wear certain helmets. We have certain self-contained breathing apparatus that they wear in fires. So there's not one station has some of this equipment and another station has other equipment. It doesn't go together when you come to a big incident. It all needs to be the same. So that's what the standardization committee is for. The helmets will satisfy the helmet part if we get that award. We were just awarded, Mr. Staley mentioned this, the RSAF $61,000 grant just awarded. Just waiting to move forward with purchasing laptop computers, another a couple of like a CPR device, defibrillator. Those items are very, very expensive going ambulances, so we're going to order all those items here probably this month. Some of the events that we fire EMS attended, football game staffing, of course. Fire EMS went to Bear Creek State Park, the Lights in the Lake event. Career Day at Cumberland Elementary School, Trunk or Treat, LP Jackson, the Christmas parade here in town, Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which was very successful here at the courthouse. And the one that I thought was really cool that I got to go to this year was the Bear Creek State Park Lake Plunge. 43-degree water, and there was 50 or 60 people that went out there and neck deep in the water, ran back in just because they wanted to do it. It was not fundraising that I know. It was just to start the new year with a polar plunge, as they call it. I've seen them, not participated in them, but I got to get a front row seat to that. It was quite interesting. Nobody got hurt. It just got cold. Two guys went out there and stayed out there for about 10 minutes on snack. I don't know how they did it, but yeah. We are focusing, since I've started the position, on the monthly volunteer chiefs meetings. That is a once-a-month meeting where I meet in a closed session with the 3 volunteer fire chiefs and assess what they need, talk about training opportunities. I give them updates on like Cobb Creek Reservoir, how we're going to respond there, the 9 solar farms. We've talked about the radio communication procedures. When we get the new radio system, that's going to be a huge undertaking. So we have common terminology and they all work together and we all know what we're talking about on the radio. The service level agreement between them and the county, we're still working on that. And migrating over to the emergency communications radio system, we've got all the equipment ordered. It's through Virginia State Police. Some of it's starting to arrive at the state police headquarters on Midlothian in Chesterfield. It'll probably take, they're telling us 26-week delivery time, so we're probably about 20-ish weeks left before we get all of the items in. The next phase of that will be they will program and install into the vehicles, the 911 center, and teach us how to use them, which I've got background on that, so I hope that'll be streamlined as to how we talk on them and so forth. So I'm going to start meeting with representatives from each volunteer fire station and the rescue squad monthly to talk about some of these procedures and channels we want, mutual aid partner channels. So when we call for a resource, perhaps from Farmville, we'll be able to talk on the same channel. That's been the issue in the past, more I understand. New radio system should greatly help with that. That's another exciting project. When we meet with the mutual aid partners, that'll be surrounding jurisdictions that we need to update our memorandum of understanding or MOU agreements. Basically, that's a contract that says, we let me use your frequencies, I'll let you use mine, you sign it. That's all it is to it. We just got to update it because we have a new radio system. And then lastly, the pharmacy, which is, we've been working on that in the background. The security systems are already in place. The tentative go live is probably gonna be March of this year. Right now, as it stands, it's a soft target date. That might change. There's been a lot of hardware issues trying to get things to work and talk and communicate out an issue if it's breached. Lastly, some of the sites that I've been trying to visit ahead of time is the Cobb Creek Reservoir is a pretty interesting project to try to get in there and speak to those folks about how fire and EMS, because we're going to get sheriff too. We're going to be the ones responding to this complex when something happens. There's some resources we do not have right now where we're going to have to call for mutual aid, like a boat. We don't have that. Inflatable boat is what I mean there. And then access to the complex itself, which I've got that solved. We'll get there. It's just going to be a Knox box system, which I want to expand that system to the county buildings, the schools, and all the other areas that we like the ballpark up here. And that's just a security box. It only the fire department has a key to it. It's a nationwide security system for fire EMS. And each fire apparatus has a key for that box. And then the box is mounted to the structure that we're trying to get into, the fence. The front of the school building is bolted to the building, and then it has a ring of keys in there for that building. So we're not breaking in doors, busting glass, waiting on key holders to show things like that. So that'll be the solar farms will have that. It's already written into the plans, the permits. Cobb Creek, I talked them into it. They're going to do it. I think that's a cooperative effort between us and them. The schools, I've already looked, just did a drive-by of the schools and looked at those. There's one in front of each school. We did a library here. Camp Parsons was another one. Cumberland Road, they're interested in it. So I think it's a great plan. We'll get there. It's going to take a little while. Let's see, what a resource. Yeah, talking about Cobb Creek Reservoir, James River, Willis River, Appomattox River, all justifies a vote. To me, I'm going to explore some grant opportunities and see if we can get a grant opportunity awarded to buy some boats. Big boats, like in Jaws. Just a rubber inflatable boat with some training and an outboard motor and some water rescue gear just to do a first responder rescue if we need to do it. Because right now, if we go to Cobb Creek, we do not have the resources here in the county to handle an emergency there. We have to wait for Goochland to bring the boat and the people if they're available. I'd like to be able to provide that from the county, obviously, for fire and EMS. The last item is the regional chiefs meetings I've been attending. The Central Virginia Fire Chiefs Association, the last one of those was in Chesterfield, and that's all of the fire chiefs that want to participate in the Central Virginia region. And Cumberland is the last jurisdiction west that's permitted or invited to go to those meetings. So the last round, they invited me and I went, and it was great. It's a great cooperative relationship between all the other agencies. Same thing with the Virginia Heartland Fire Chiefs Association. They do quarterly meetings, and that is Buckingham, Cumberland, Buckingham, Farmville, Prince Edward, Nottoway, Fluvanna. It's those smaller jurisdictions for west of here, which that's good. That's a good one too. We'll keep forward with those. So I think that's it. You have any questions?
I do.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to recognize the firefighters that are with us.
I just wanted to thank you. That's the Cartersville Volunteer Fire. I would recognize them also for coming out tonight, supporting fire EMS.
Pertaining to Cobb Creek, you have a temporary solution, and that's the man supporting that.
We've had initial conversation with Fluvanna. Right now, Goochland, we have an agreement with Goochland to utilize their watercraft in the event that we have an incident out there.
So Goochland would bring the boat. The divers would have to be requested through the state to either have Henrico or Chesterfield respond with a real equipped, trained scuba rescue team. The state police can provide that, but that's divers only, as available. So some troopers or divers have all the gear, as long as they're available to respond, they'll do that. So what my goal is to have a basic level to respond with a boat, with some folks on it that are trained in the fire department, with some gear, and go out there and at least be able to throw a rope bag or throw a PFD or pick somebody off of a boat that's flipped over and they're out there waving their hands around. It's going to happen. I want to be prepared for that.
Next question I have is on EMS. If you look at your total number of calls, you look at our population basis, 14% of our population base. Would that be normal?
I will have to research that and get back to you.
It seems awful high.
Well, they're running 3 to 5 calls countywide a day average. It's one way I came up with that number. And I compared it to last year's number for EMS response, and this year was a little bit higher than last year, about a 5% increase. If I did my math correctly. I mean, that's what, when you listen on the radio, that's about all you hear is the ambulances run up and down the road. The 2 ambulances that are contracted, and sometimes we get into it, we don't have them available, we have to call for a mutual aid partner to respond here in county. I've been on a few of them myself, where we called 4 jurisdictions in the middle of the night for medical incident right here in the village, and the paid ambulance was not available, was already on the call. And the dispatcher couldn't get anybody to come here. Buckingham finally showed up, but I got there first from my house. So that's pretty significant, where we need to, we need to probably improve that service somehow.
That kind of leads into my question. So are you saying, Mr. Hurley, that the 5% increase, is that predominantly EMS, not fire? 5%?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Good. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your support.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, can I jump
Yes,
in?
you can.
I just want to say, Darren's been here for, Mr. Hurley, you've been here for a little over 3 months. I just want to take a moment and say thank you to him for the job that he's done since he stepped in. You can see what we've been accomplishing under his leadership in fire and EMS. So I just want to say thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, Brian Locker, DDOT. Clean roads.
All right. Happy New Year all again. 2025 is here in a little while. Go back quick, sure. Mr. Stamey, Ward, Beasley, Ms. Cruz. We're here to go through past month's activities. Brief report I have this week, this month, excuse me, for past month. Our general budget update, again, just, as expressed up there, we're just about halfway through, a little bit behind the expenditure versus the plan. Again, that trend seems to continue as we move forward in the fiscal year, which ends in June 30th. So, for our presentation. Here are the work orders for this past month. Not very many. Don't have an explanation for that other than it was winter. A whole lot going on there. So these 2 projects are actually new. I indicated in past months that I would advise or get these up there. You see the dates are several months out. These are paving projects that are going to start sometime in the spring. The plan mix is a mill and fill where VDOT goes out there and actually removes the old pavement and puts new. Surface treatment is exactly what it says. It's a process where existing asphalt roads are treated. And I'll keep these on there on the board for the board's information. And we'll just update you as spring approaches. So here's the look down to the meat and potatoes of the past month. So there were the two snow events I will speak of are previous weekend, say not last weekend, weekend before. That was more of a snow event that turned into rain. So the clearing of the roads was fairly straightforward. And just to be clear, so our focus as a department is to clear the primaries, followed by the secondaries. So the effort out front was again get the primary roads cleared, and then again follow up with the secondaries. This past event was more of a snow event. The challenge with this event was the cold weather afterwards. Thank you, Mr. Dooms, for the recognition. There was certainly an effort on our part to coordinate further with schools on working through the roads and looking through the snow routes, and we intend to do that moving forward, and I can, talk with Mr. Jones offline, to see if we can maybe improve that, or if there are any changes, but that's going to be our moving forward. This past event, our area headquarters was working with, Mr. Bell, I believe it was, the transportation to help get the roads cleared. There again, it's the gravel roads and the areas that were in shade are very difficult to clear ice, so we did have someone on our side, but that's the biggest challenge that we have. Next item on there is the buggy signage. The update for this month is that, I think I did allude to last month, we were going to get static signage installed. They are not standard signs, so they are being fabricated, so the understanding or the anticipation is by next month that we will have permanent signs installed on Route 45, and I forgot the exact locations, but it's basically before the incidents. There was 2 incidents past 2 years, coming in both directions. So I'll identify the exact locations next meeting. Again, as far as the signs with the flashing lights, I'll reiterate, they are new to the department, so they are going through an evaluation process on the statewide level. It is a bit more involved than I had anticipated early on, but I will again certainly keep you all posted on that as it progresses. Last item I had on there is the Route 60 strip project. I know I've been talking to Mr. Stanley about it before the meeting, but we did get plans last week from, forgive me, I forgot who the engineer was, but this is for the storage barrel, sorry. TRC. So they are, those plans will be reviewed, and I'll get comments out in another week or two, so we'll work through getting the approval of that project out of the way. So there are the 3 really major items I have for the past month. Are there any questions for me?
I just had a quick one. You say the flashing signs, the orange buggy signs.
Yes, sir.
If you go from like Keysville or Marshville, there's a couple places that have, is that the same? It's a sign, it's got, lights around it. I noticed that, that was up there.
So these signs,
I don't know if it's made by the county, something totally different, or is that a VDOT?
the signs that VDOT has in place, and these were done before my time here in the district. So at the entry points on primary routes into the localities is share the road, the bigger signs. I'm not familiar with the one you're directly speaking of, but the one that we're evaluating is the way that they are designed to work is that a slow-moving vehicle would cross the sign, and that would trigger the lights. So there's a little bit of some evaluation that needs to be done on how that's exactly going to work. But on the surface, that's what they would do to notify drivers leading up to the to where they were. That's caution. I will note when I worked night shift. And there was an indication, or there was they're out there at night too as well. And we know that even during the snow, because that's the point I'm making. So it's stuff, we just got to keep our eyes on the road. The other effort, and I'll work with Mr. Samey, is that when we do get the signs in place, there'll be outreach by the department to the community about the signs, and then going up, and we can work with the county and also do the same. Thank you.
Any questions? One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Personal experience, then fell across a one-man road and covered one full lane, part of the other lane. So I did my due diligence against my wife's advice, and I stopped, put on my flashers, and went out to take care of it. And it dawned on me, this thing was a little bit bigger than I could probably do.
Great.
So the question was, who should I call? The good news is somebody came the other way and they couldn't get by it either, so between the two of us, we got it down the road. Is that a 911 call? Is that a 800 number call? Where do you call someone who lives in the road like that?
So the jurisdiction of maintenance of the roads falls under the department, assuming they're not a private road even. So when those incidents occur, there's an 800 number, 1-800-4 road, goes to the call center in Salem, and then we get the work order towards us. It gets trickled down to the area headquarters, and myself, and the city coming in.
A lot of the times folks just call the non-emergency sheriff's number and then they dispatch them.
Yeah.
It all ends up in the same spot.
I can't speak
I
for.
would have loved to flare on that personally, if I got around to it, but, it hurts.
Yeah, I can't speak for my emergency response partners, but it's a VDOT obligation, and there are times, and we've had discussions with other counties as well, and there's coordination with DMS and fire, and sometimes they go out there first. And vice versa. But, you see it on the Hunter Road.
I do know some guys in Cartersville that like to ride around with chainsaws in the back of the truck just for that situation, so, yeah.
VDOT siren too.
Good operator with the chainsaw. Good, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Walker, I have another question. I've been getting a lot of calls, from citizens who, when the roads were paved, their mailboxes were knocked over, not paved, plowed, their mailboxes were knocked over. I've been sending them to the main office, is that the correct place to send people to?
The 1-800-4 road, that's the main, that's our.
To make sure I'm sending the right place.
Yeah, and I'm getting offline, I can share with you, the residency has a number too, and I can share the public number, I'll share that with you as well.
Okay.
What citizens out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, finance report, Mr. Cruz.
Members of the board, the first item that I have for you this evening is the monthly budget report. That's the cumulative budget report, and this goes through December. This is for your information, but if you have any questions, you want to take those, you may report them later.
Everyone's had a chance to look at that, if there are any questions. Let's look through it real quick. There's no follow-up. Do we have a motion to approve?
This is it.
This is, oh, this, sorry, this is.
Yes.
It's this. Next one, we have a motion to approve. Any other questions for the motion, budget report? No? Okay. Now the appropriation.
Yes, so we do have appropriation that comes from the Cumberland County Public Schools. They have requested that the board appropriate funds that have been awarded to them in the amount of $168,500. The board has approved this appropriation at their January meeting. This actual appropriation does consist of two separate awards. The first being removing barriers related to academic achievement in the amount of $10,000. The second, school-based mental health in the amount of $158,500. It is my recommendation that the board approves the appropriation request in the amount of $168,500 for purposes as outlined in each grant. This appropriation does not require any additional local capital.
So just as a matter of discussion, congratulations on the awards. And do we have a motion to approve the appropriation for $168,500 on the county public schools?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
The second and final appropriation that I have for this evening comes from the Emergency Services Department. They did receive a donation from Powhatan Moose Lodge in the amount of $2,500. Darren Hurley is requesting that the board approve the allocation of funds to purchase furniture to be used in the livable space of the rescue squad building. This space is occupied by both volunteers and paid staff of the department. It is my recommendation that the board does approve this appropriation in the amount of $2,500 as requested by the coordinator of emergency services, Darren Hurley. And this does not require any additional local funding.
And do we have a motion to approve the appropriation for emergency services?
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is planning and zoning report. Secretary Johnson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You'll find in your board packet the monthly project updates for the planning department for December 2024. We do have 4 pending conditional use permits and rezoning requests. We have CP 2401 for the Green Ridge Recycling and Disposal Facility. Conditional use permit 2402 for the Cumberland Fire EMS radio tower. Rezoning 2401 for Dowdy et al. So rezoning from R2 to B1, which we have set for public hearing this evening. And rezoning 24-02 for the Cumberland Industrial Park. That'll be a rezoning from M1 to M2. In the month of December, staff has approved 1 commercial accessory zoning permit, 3 residential primary permits, 3 residential accessory permits, and 3 farm structure permits. As for subdivision plats, there were 2 approved, and we have 43 pending. For plat surveys and site plans, there were 6 approved and 26 pending. We currently have 3 commercial erosion and sediment control permits that are open, 1 for Cobb's Creek Reservoir and 2 for the small-scale solar energy projects down on Cumberland Road. There was only 1 residential E&S permit that was issued. And then you'll also see on the bottom of that the last 2 pages, the potential code amendments that we staff is going to be working. And that is all I have for you this evening.
Informational, and any questions from Ms. Johnson? All right. Thank you. All right. Amy. I'm sorry, County Attorney.
No problem, Mr. Vice Chairman, nothing to report.
Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board, I've got 3 items for your approval and consideration under the consent agenda. The first is the approval of bills. The second is the approval of your minutes from your December 10th regularly scheduled board meeting, 2024, and December 30th workshop, found on pages 30 through 40 of your board packet. And also approval of the 2024 annual business license report that was submitted by Ms. Phillips, our Commissioner of Revenue. Those are the 3 items for consideration. You'd like to take any questions that you may have.
One question I have is the total number of business licenses issued in 94. That number seems like it's up from previous years. Is that true?
I would have to go back. Jennifer, you can draw off the top of your head. We'd have to go back and look.
About average. Okay.
I've seen it a little bit, right?
Well, it also appears that there's a growth in new construction. So I'm just making sure it's not a figment of my imagination. It sure seems like there's a lot of single-family construction going on throughout the county right now.
Well, this is how the business license is issued, but
This is a different side.
just in general, yes. And I can provide an actual map with a breakdown. Our building official has been tracking new home construction. And it's up, I believe, we talked about it this afternoon, and I believe it was at like 101 new homes for construction for 2024 versus, I'm pulling numbers off the top of my head, but it was in the 80 to 85 range for last year. So I'll be glad to provide those numbers to the board via email as well as a heat map related to that as well.
I do think it could be good for the next board meeting just to have just a general discussion of the business licenses. And they appear to be, and as well as the construction. Those could be good things for the county, as long as they've done the right way. So, with that, any other questions? Okay, and we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Spencer?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
And we have the old business. And new business. On to public hearings. This is a rezoning request for Dowdy Hall. And Stephanie Johnson is here. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is public hearing for RA Z 2401, rezoning for county and all. And you would discuss something on that?
Yes, sir, thank you. Happening this evening, the rezoning request for the Dowdy family. The property owners are George Lee Dowdy III, Marvin J. Boyd, and Joellen Franklin. This is a request to rezone from R2 residential to B1 business, a parcel of 3.2 acres located at 5 Old Buckingham Road. It's at the corner of Old Buckingham and Route 60. There is a current vacant residential building on there, on the property that it does plan to be demolished. Here we show just a general vicinity map of the location of the property. This is the zoning map showing the area of the parcel. In yellow is the project parcel. The light blue indicates the properties that are zoned R2, and the red properties are those that are zoned B1 business. So you do see where the properties to the east, west, and the northwest are actually zoned business, and direct north and south are zoned R2 residential. This is our comprehensive plan map as indicated in our 2023 comprehensive plan. And here is a zoomed in section of the village center, the courthouse village center. Kind of hard to see, but this parcel sits just on the northern edge of the village center. Here's an aerial map of that same parcel where you can see sits just at that intersection of Route 13 and Route 60, and Commerce Road sits just north of that subject parcel. Here we have the current survey for the parcel that does show the dwelling and 2 previous structures that were on the property. This survey was dated January 9th, 1970. The owners are the heirs to the former occupants of the building, of the house that was on here that is planned for demolition. The parcels, again, east and west, are zoned B1. The owners are requesting that the parcel be rezoned to B1 business to better align the area for future business development. And the owners do plan to sell this lot once it has been rezoned. Cumulative planning implications. There are some goals, objectives, and policies of the 2023 comprehensive plan that would be achieved by this rezoning. Goal 8 is to create diverse economic development opportunities, and objective 8.1 states the county will encourage economic development in the well-connected village centers such as Randolph, Cartersville, and Cumberland. Objective 8.2, the county will encourage the development of service and retail businesses to meet the needs of the current and future populations of the community. And objective 8.4, to facilitate the conditions needed for new, and that should say small, not slam, I apologize, new and small businesses, particularly in the village centers. The next couple slides will show you the business uses that are permitted in the B1 zoning district. And I realize that this is going to be pretty hard to read, but you do have listings in your board packet as well. These listings include antique shops, bakeries, business offices, car washes, drugstores, dry cleaners, financial services, general stores, gift shops, retail stores, recreational centers, wholesale businesses. For public engagement, notice of the hearing was published in the Farmville Herald on January 1st and January 8th. Adjoining property owners were sent notice for this hearing on December 23rd. And the Department of Works confirmed that this parcel is within the mandatory connection area for both public water and sewer. However, the property is currently utilizing an existing private septic system and well. What that means is that they can continue to use that service, but if there were ever to be anything that happens to their current well and septic, then they would need to connect to that county water and sewer. The application was submitted to VDOT for comment, but since there's no specific plan for any type of development for the use of the property, VDOT was unable to share the extent of any potential traffic impacts to Route 13 and 60 corridor, because it's just not known at this time. VDOT did provide that the existing entrance on Route 60 does not meet commercial entrance requirements. The extent of the improvements to the entrances and any turn lanes that will be needed will be addressed by VDOT at the submission of a site plan once the development is proposed. Staff has received no comment for or against this rezoning request. Not a phone call, not an email, not a person stopping in to ask questions. But I'd be happy to answer any more questions that you have.
Question. Property to the east is the Baptist Temple, right?
That is, I believe, south and east, yes.
So I know as part of rezoning, dealing with business use, but I think expectations, this supervisor, not the rest of the board, but this supervisor, that proper screening will go in place for anything, depending on the business use and that improvements that are made to that particular property.
I believe it's the, just here, just.
57,883.
Correct. Yeah, and that is zoned residential. I believe there is a section in our ordinance that does require for some sort of buffer. When there is a parcel that is zoned business next to a residential zone, there does require some vegetative buffer. And that would be addressed at the site plan submission.
Just because I'm familiar with the site, that particular building actually faces that lot. So
Okay.
whatever's improved on that lot, that simple will
See,
be correctly on the outdoor.
correct.
So proper screening needs to be in place. And again, I know it's not part of rezoning, it's just a comment.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Beasley, can the board stipulate specific conditions as part of a rezoning? If they were to approve the rezoning request, I know it would be considered proper, but could they, at their discretion, approve the rezoning with the condition?
I would probably have to look into that, because this is rezoning, it's not conditional use.
Correct.
It really is
Stipulations.
preliminary because you don't know what the use is.
Correct.
And the uses, to your point, were quite wide.
Limits, correct.
So we'll just wait to see what happens to it, in the long run. Again, a lot of variations there, but I just want good planning, more or less, notice, so to speak. And this is me, I'll speak for the entire board, as one supervisor, we know the property and respect the sanctuary of the Baptist.
And again, Mr. Beasley, correct me if I'm wrong, but the board could approve, deny, or table action this evening after the public hearing, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So with that, any other comments? And do we have a motion to approve rezoning?
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. There are no,
Oh, I'm sorry.
there are no one has signed up for public comments. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the rezoning? Down in all that's presented.
You have to open.
Yeah, it's right. You still need to open.
Okay. All right, then we'll open the public hearing. And please remember, all residents of Cumberland County or individuals owning real property are permitted to speak during the public hearing and public comments. And since there are no citizens signed up to speak, we will now close the public hearing. We'll open the floor for board member discussion.
I mean, I would just like to say that, you know, when we're looking at the comprehensive plan, when we're looking at areas for targeted growth and development, I mean, this is kind of like an ideal situation. And the reason I say that is you already have B1 business class all the way around. The one question with the Baptist Temple, obviously, it has a business zone to two of its four sites currently. And of course, I understand your concern, but that would be something that, depending on a conditional use permit in the future, obviously this board could always put in those stipulations at that point. So I would be in favor of rezoning this to a business.
With that, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
Additional information is contained in your packet on pages 71 through 80, which is the treasury report, the DOT report, building inspections and license. County Regional Council report, and then all the approved planning commission meeting minutes, approved economic development authority minutes, and approved BZA minutes. With that, we'll open public comment period. Only individuals who have signed up for the public comment period will be allowed to speak and call upon by the chairman. Members of the board of supervisors, county officials will not respond directly to questions asked in the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed to the county administrator at a later date. Please provide contact information on the sign-up sheet. All responses by the county administrator. This was brought up earlier about the guys. First is Benny Myers.
Good evening, Board of Directors and thank you for letting me speak this evening. I'll go a little bit of I've listened to all the grant monies that's been received by this county, and I'd like to say it's really appreciated by us taxpayers that we're able to do this. And it shows in the last 6-7 years, there has been so many improvements to this county, and that's without any funds from Green. And I think that's a key factor for us to consider in the future. We've been able to do that, and we don't need this group coming in and destroying all our wonderful lines. I know the CDP's out there. The other thing is that I know that the board has been working very strongly to get the citizens involved in your meetings. I think you also want to encourage people that serve on the planning commission and on EDA, two of the key people that are tasked with what our future holds for Cumberland County, to attend your meetings. Even though you have a representative going to their meetings, they're not getting the full force of what's going on in this county unless they attend this. And that's all I have to say this evening.
Next is Bill Bruce. 4.
Good evening, gentlemen. So as of October 8th, the board supervisor declared that the board is not allowed to talk about the new CUP. There's basically a gag order that you're not supposed to talk to the citizens. I find this very offensive that I can't go to a board member and say what's going on in my county. There's also a lawsuit that was filed back in October, I do believe. How come this isn't on the Cumberland County website to let citizens know that there's a pending lawsuit, and also that there's the old CUP is still on there. If you got a new CUP, I believe that voids the old one. is there a map with the new CUP? I haven't seen that on the website, I'm sorry if I missed it. With this new CUP for Green Ridge, have you given any thought about the chicken farmers? Because of the avian flu is now popping up in cattle meat. So, you know, these things attract a lot of fowl. And then we've got the EMS, you got firefighters. I'm sure, you know, that needs to be looked at too to increase the budget. How many loans does Cumberland County have? Luther P. Jackson, elementary school, middle school, high school, all of them is still outstanding. And now we're talking about $40 million to add on to the courthouse. And it's going to raise taxes. The gentleman at the meeting the other night told you it will raise taxes. You will have to raise taxes. With this new CUP, is there a new payout? Are they offering Cumberland County more money to do the to approve? That another thing I would like to know is because they always offering money. Green Ridge is always throwing money at Cumberland County. It's just like the carrot and the horse dangling it out in front. Like we gotta have it, we gotta have it. We don't need to have it. It's now the one go be a third of what it is. They're going to get their foot in the door. They're always do what? We want more land. We want to go higher. We want to go bigger. So you have the opportunity to nix it right now. And that's what the citizens are probably asking. All right? Have a good night. Thank you.
Next is Gina Martin, Cartersville District 2.
Gina Martin at 518 Cartersville Road, Cumberland. Couple questions. I'm really concerned about how many absentees people of the board have missed on meetings up to date. It's always been a concern of mine. I think I brought it up before. But now that Tyree has been appointed as chairman, there needs to be an attendance. I'd like to know how many meetings she missed up to date. And is she going to improve this process? Because it really affects votes and the approval process when someone is not there. And if somebody's saying they want to be on this board and they take on a lot of other responsibilities, I think we need to find out this needs to be a priority. If job obligations are interfered, I think that needs to be looked at before we appoint somebody as a chairman that's absent all the time. Let me see. Cops Creek, and this goes to you. Emergency response, you response. Visual will divide that vote off, and you can make a comment. Is anyone from Cops Creek going to give any additional funding to Cumberland to help with these emergency responses? Question. I mean, they wanted it here. Seems like they should be able to help us, not us have to talk. We're not really benefiting from Cops Creek. Okay. So that was one of them. Other one, you, emergency EMS, once again, said that other counties are not responding to emergencies in Cumberland. How many times are we, Cumberland, responding to those counties? And it's a little lopsided. I'm just curious. You know, they are our neighbors, we're supposed to all help each other out. And that was the burden on us. There has been an increase, which can be good in these new single-family home permitting and other construction. But at what point does it really become possibly bad with existing infrastructure that we have, meaning schools? I think you said something about 101 homes. Is that for 2025?
That's new construction.
Okay, and then 80 to 85 last year?
Approximately.
Okay, so if this keeps going at this rate, this could present a problem with, you know, I don't know if they're on water, sewage at this time. I don't know where the lines are, this new construction, but is that gonna, burden other things? Is electrical, grid two also involved? So, I mean, I like the people who come into Cumberland, I really do, but we just need to watch it. I'm from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and we watch this out for everything.
Okay, those are all the signs for the public comment period. Next is the chairman and board member comments. I'll start with Randy, Paul.
I just want to say, Happy New Year to everybody in attendance, and I want to thank you for being here tonight. You show that you're concerned enough about the community in which you live and the county in which you reside, that you're a citizen of, that you care. And I always say that this is your meeting. We're here to do your business. And I want to thank you, each and every one, for being in attendance tonight. God bless you.
And I agree with that comment. It's a pleasure to have all these people. It's not the best weather. I realize that. It's not the best parking lot either. You skate in, but you braved it. We appreciate you here. Hope you come back. And we hope you bring your neighbors, your friends. Cumberland is a close community. It's a community, I think, that bonds together beyond just friendship and neighbors. It's on the side of it's our culture. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I'm proud to be a part of the board. So again, hope to have you back for the next board meeting. And I would declare that day. Mr. James, do you have a date?
Just approved it. Let me find it.
I can find it real quick. You can find it.
Actually, there's a lot of, that's a budget workshop. It should be, I believe, February 11th.
It's the next board meeting.
That's correct.
Workshop
A lot of meetings coming up.
on the 23rd. Yeah. So, workshop 23rd, board meeting in February. With that, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Spencer?
Aye.
Mr. Stokes?